Okay, welcome all. It's 6 o'clock. Welcome to the Papillion La Vista Community Schools Board of Education meeting for January 22nd, 2024. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Roll call.
Here.
Ms. Wood? Here. Mr. Logan?
Here.
Mr. Mather?
Here.
Ms. Fisher? Here. Ms. Smith?
Here.
Thank you. I want to point out we have the open meetings law posted at the entrance to the room. So we will go to Section 2, Communications, Recognition. Pass it over to you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Madler. Good evening, Board of Education. Tonight we have two recognitions. We're going to start out with Coach Tim Williams. Coach Williams is here. He is a coach for us at Papillion La Vista High School, and he recently was awarded the Mike Behrens Coaching Award that is presented by the Huskerland Preps and was designated to recognize the coach's ability to bring out the best of his team, and football in this case, and creating a sense of overachievement. And we have heard through the rumor mill that Coach Williams, this is the second time he has been awarded this, and he's one of the few, if only one, in the state, as he was also received this award for Class C when he was a coach at Waverly. So, B. Oh, don't tell Waverly I just did that. So we want to congratulate Coach Williams, and Coach Williams, come on down and be recognized by your Board of Education. Okay, our second recognition, and I see she is in the audience tonight, we would like to recognize Lauren Medic. Lauren is a student at Papillion La Vista South High School, and she is being recognized with the Max Preps Nebraska Volleyball Player of the Year. Each year since 2008, Max Prep has recognized outstanding performance in high school volleyball from all 50 states and Washington, D.C. Selections are based on the team's success and individual excellence in addition to local and state accolades. Lauren has had an outstanding season, and this season Lauren racked up 391 kills, helping Papillion La Vista South go 35-2. So Lauren, congratulations. Come on down and be recognized by your Board of Education. And that concludes the board's recognition for tonight.
All right, thank you, Ms. Siri. Moving on to item B, Military Advisor, Colonel Klesiak. Welcome, Colonel.
Good evening. Hey, thank you all again for the opportunity to speak this evening. So just a couple items. First off, as you're aware, we've had a lot of weather here in the last couple of weeks, and really just want to thank Dr. Rickley specifically for all of the work that he's done in keeping us informed with what the school districts are doing around in the area. So not only did he let us know what Papillion La Vista was doing, but he was also kind of our voice to the rest of the superintendents across the metro area here. While we don't necessarily rely directly on the school board to make our calls, or school district to make our calls, it is very helpful for us to understand what that means for our parents and for our kids with that's going on. So again, just want to really thank him for his help on working with us in the base. Second, budget update. Every time I've come here, I think I've had to talk about the federal government's budget. And as many of you are tracking, we've had another continuing resolution, which fortunately for us does keep us funded through the 1st and the 8th of March. So at least at this point, everything is good for us. And again, just another month for us to hopefully get a budget passed through. Third, coming up on the 22nd of February, we have our kindergarten prep class or seminar. That's an opportunity for us and Ms. Leanne Yanikov, our school liaison officer, to work with a number of other organizations and agencies to be able to help prep our parents who might be sending their kids off to school for the very first time, understand what's going on, try to have an opportunity for them to be able to meet with various agencies and ideally the school districts. And again, that's coming up on the 22nd of February. And then a couple other items a little bit bigger for us coming up. We have our office 100th anniversary celebration. So 100 years since the base was designated Offutt Air Force Base. Previously was Fort Crook. And that's going to be on the 10th of May at the base. And then over the summer, we're going to be full in prepping for our air show. That'll be on the 24th and the 25th of August. And then lastly, I always appreciate the fact that I get to follow the recognition, and I have just a small recognition for our own. So Miss Leanne Yanikov, who is sitting with us in the audience as well, she was recognized at Offutt Air Force's Base Mission Support Group Civilian of the Year. So huge accomplishment for her, and not only does she work with us in the local district here, Papillion La Vista, but she is also DOD's main liaison for the entire state of Nebraska. So huge job that she does, and we're very, very appreciative of the work that she does every single day to take care of our students and have an opportunity for us to be able to work across there. So, Leanne, thank you very much. Appreciate it. So that is all I have, pending any questions. All right.
Well, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Y'all have a great evening.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel.
Okay, moving on to item C, public comments for items not on the agenda. We do have a handful. So I'll remind the speakers, we have public comments for 30 minutes for items on the agenda. Each speaker gets up to 3 minutes. Ms. Branco will have the timer first beep at 2 minutes, 15 seconds, and then 3 minutes when the time is up. When I call your name, please come to the table. And before you start, please state your name and address or city so that we know who is addressing us. And we shall start with Mr. Darrell Lechner.
Hello, everybody. My name is Darrell E. Lechner, Jr., and I'm from La Vista. I've been here multiple times. Good to see a lot of smiling faces again, and a new face, obviously. Outside of that, obviously, many of you know I'm part of a research group that's been researching things throughout our country, and my focus is within our state. I did go over our curriculum review. I spent 2 days on it. I did send multiple memos concerning it, and I was promised I would be contacted. Our last president, I had contacted about a week ago, and he forwarded it because I haven't received anything, no phone calls, no emails, no nothing concerning this curriculum. During this wait time, I contacted 2 teachers from Amarillo, Texas, because they're currently having problems with the Amplify curriculum, which we are proposing to purchase. I have serious issues about this. There's a lot of problems with this curriculum. One of the teachers quit the school district due to the fact of it, and another left due to harassment from the union, from my understanding. I am saying there's a war going on, and I mean it. What I'm seeing from far left extremist groups is this year, be prepared. And I mean it. They are trying to indoctrinate our children. And I'm not talking about they're trying to sway them. This is a slow drip process. This is what they have stated themselves. And these are Marxists. These are card-carrying communists. Our university at UNO actually brought one in, which we had actually was very surprised because they brought her in and paid for her at a convention here in Omaha. The only reason we knew about it is because we've been tracking her for probably about a year now, because she's such a very popular spokeslady. She's very eloquent in her words, and if you don't understand the language, you would miss all of it. And I'm not trying to scare anybody by any means, but I need you to be aware of these people are here. They're throughout the Midwest. I know of we have tracked multiple towns just in Iowa where these communists, and I mean communists, this is not somebody that's socialist or, these are people out for the destruction of our country. And they're using teachers in our schools to do this. They have stated openly, they do not care what you say, what states say, and they will circumvent it. I suggest that we get cameras in the classrooms so our parents, you guys are supposed to protect our kids, and we have problems with teachers circumventing this, and this is being encouraged by many of the unions, teachers unions across this country. I do not know if our own union within our own city here is so much affected, because I haven't seen their names come up. But I want to make it clear to you, these people are here to destroy our country, and that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Lechner.
And I would like to be contacted at some point by our education curriculum. We have 2 doctors that we pay for.
We've actually contacted you. I sent it on, and she has sent multiple emails to you. So what I would ask is after the meeting, double check and give us your email address and make sure we're sending it to the right email, because I sent that to her, and we actually had a conversation about it like 2 days after you sent that to me. So
You did? Yeah, because I sent that email to you.
and we have tried to contact you. So I sent something back to you, and so did she. So did the series. So
I'll check it.
please give us, make sure we've got the right email address, because somehow or another they're not getting to you. So.
All right.
Thank you again.
Well,
I
thank
appreciate it, Skip, because you answered me right away, and thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Lechner. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Next up for public comment for items not on the agenda, Ms. Lowen Eby.
Hello, my name is Lowen Eby, and I reside in Papillion. I would like to share with the Papillion-La Vista Community Schools Board of Education and the community the lawsuit Make Americans Free Again, MAFA, is supporting. From the press release dated December 22nd, 2023, former nursing student files suit against Southeast Community College. Student excels at courses, then discharged for not taking the COVID-19 vaccine. MAFA helps fund brave citizens who seek to vindicate their constitutional rights. Students like Hannah should not have to choose between a career and taking an experimental shot for COVID-19, said Lowen Eby, MAFA Nebraska coordinator. MAFA demands Southeast Community College end its COVID-19 vaccine mandate immediately. MAFA further demands that the Nebraska Department of Education end its Max the Vax promotion of COVID-19 vaccines for grade school-aged children. Parents of any students who have suffered physical or mental harms resulting from being coerced into being injected with these COVID-19 vaccines from either Southeast Community College or the Nebraska Department of Education are encouraged to contact MAFA State Leader Lowen Eby by email. Legal help may be available. I would like to draw your attention to the December 13th, 2021 minutes from the superintendent's report. The district hosted another Sarpy County vaccine clinic on Tuesday, December 7th at PLCS. 598 vaccines were given out at this session, with 369 given to elementary students and 154 to secondary students. Again, I would like to repeat, if any parents were coerced into being injected, or their child was being coerced into being injected with these COVID-19 vaccines, please contact Lowen Eby, and my email address is mafanebraska@gmail.com, mafanebraska@gmail.com. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Hebe. Last up for items not on the agenda is Mr. Ralph Tate.
Good evening. My name is Ralph Tate, and I live in Papillion. A vote of confidence for the Opportunity Scholarship Act, LB 753, looks like it's going to be on the ballot this year. What kinds of arguments do we hear from the Nebraska State Education Association and others for why they want to terminate LB 753? First, they say that LB 753 does not help all children. Is this the standard? If a program does not help all students, then it should be terminated? Are public schools held to the same standard? Statewide, more than a third of all students in 3rd through 8th grades do not meet academic standards for mathematics. For blacks and Hispanics, the failure to meet the standard ranges from a half to 3/4. Think about that. A half to 3/4 of all black and Hispanic states in the entire state do not meet academic performance standards in mathematics from 3rd to 8th grades. In English language arts, the results are about the same. And how is that helping all children? Of course, LB 753 doesn't help all children. The intent is to help those children from low-income families, not those who aren't. LB 753 is expected to assist approximately 5,000 out of a state population of over 365,000 students. Lack of accountability is the second reason. Purportedly, private schools would not be held to the same accountability and reporting requirements as public schools. Any informed citizenry will recognize that to be blatantly false. LB 753 specifically requires all qualifying schools to comply with the applicable accreditation or approval requirements established by the State Board of Education. And thirdly, the excuse is that it would cause teachers to lose their jobs. There are two issues with this argument. First, this is an excellent example of misplaced priorities. The purpose of public education is to provide quality education to children, enabling them to become productive members of society. As valuable as they are, teachers are a means to that end, not an end in itself. Public education is not, nor has it ever been, a public works project for the purpose of providing jobs for teachers or anyone else. Teachers are a critical part of providing children with a quality education, but that does not mean we place the security of teacher employment over that of our children's education. Secondly, it's an acknowledged admission by the NSCA that against any form of academic competition, their own expectation is that public education cannot compete. They admit that given an opportunity, a significant number of parents and guardians would remove their children from public education because they see a personal benefit in doing so. How sad is that? So rather than work to improve the overall quality of the education system in the state, it's an easier alternative just to eliminate the competition. Even if we achieve universal school choice, do I think public schools would cease to exist? Not at all. Many parents and guardians are happy with the schools their children are attending, and they would still have their children do so. For those who are not, school choice gives them an opportunity to acquire a better quality education. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tate. All right, moving on to item D, Superintendent's report. And while it might look like Dr. Rickley isn't here in protest of a new president, I assure the board that he is not, and that Dr. Rickley was traveling with his daughter out to Hastings for, I think it was a show choir?
Honor choir.
Honor choir. I was
State
a little
honor
off.
choir.
Honor choir event. So he is out in Hastings tonight, so we get Miss Siri.
Yes,
So
that's right.
over to you.
So yes, Dr. Rickley could not be here tonight, but he did type up his superintendent's report. And we wanted to start tonight by, first of all, thanking all of you. By state proclamation, the week of January 21st through January 28th is School Board Appreciation Week. And there are 1,700 local elected officials that serve on school boards in the state of Nebraska. And we feel very fortunate to have the 6 of you and want to recognize you and appreciate you for all that you do to hold students and staff and community at the center of decisions that sometimes are not always easy to make. And we recognize all of the endless hours and time that you put in. So thank you from Papillion La Vista Community Schools. And again, we are known for greatness because of all of you. And I believe that the communication department has a little something for you that we're going to start with.
It's School Board Recognition Week, and I would like to say thank you to both the current and past PLCS Board of Education members for the time they commit to making informed decisions for the educational needs of our students, as well as the support they provide to all who work in this district. We know it is not an easy job.
The PLCS Board of Education is an amazing group of adults that make hard decisions for the school, helping the school in every single way.
They are upstanding citizens who listen to the people, the teachers, the students. They optimize our learning by making our materials efficient and ready for us. I just like to thank them for their liaison lunches when they visit the school to get a hands-on look on what we truly need and how they're always willing to listen and lend an ear.
They let us spend a lot of money on the fine arts program.
I am thankful for all the bonds that they support to help improve our school district.
I'm thankful for all the time and dedication that our school board puts into our community. I know that they have families and jobs and lives outside of working on the school board. So I'm just very grateful for the time that they put into our students and staff members.
When we first came to Papillion, we were a military family. And when my husband retired from active duty, we decided to stay here in Papillion because of the quality of education in the schools. Both of our kids went through PLCS from kindergarten, and they've been given wonderful opportunities through, academics, extracurriculars, athletics. And that's all a big part of the goals and the vision that the school board has.
We have a really good curriculum, and they find lots of ways to make school a better learning place and improve the schools.
All the time and commitment that they put into us as teachers, all of our students, the school district. They always are present at things and involved in so many different decisions that need to be made that are very stressful.
The school board makes decisions that help shape academic experience for all of our kids.
I'm thankful for the Board of Education because they hire amazing staff members.
All of us employees are held to a really high standard, and the board provides direction and oversight for all of us, and I really feel the support that they give us to help us be our best. And those are just a couple of reasons why I'm grateful for our Board of Education.
I'm thankful for the PLCS board because they always do its best for the students and staff.
We thank you, and we want you to know we appreciate you.
All right. So thank you, and as you received some additional acknowledgements from our students and staff, again, we celebrate you this week, and so thank you. Along with that, Dr. Rickley also had a couple of other things he wanted to share. The first one is he wanted to thank the community, our parents and staff, for patience as we're doing the best we can to make timely decisions when it comes to inclement weather. Right now, the weather, it seems about as predictable as nothing, but the district does build in 3 additional snow days to every calendar. We have used 4 to this point. We are continuing to monitor. There's no plans at this point to extend the school day or the calendar, but we are constantly looking for options to make sure that all the grade levels meet the state requirements for that grade level. And it's kind of unusual that we have had so many days that required the snow day usage this early in the year. So we are having conversations in case we do need to do something, but we'll keep you posted. But thank you, everyone, for your patience. The second thing that Dr. Rickley wanted to note is, as you noticed and you heard here tonight, the legislature matters. Dr. Rickley attended the NASB Legislative Issues Conference today in Lincoln. He and Brett have also been attending the monthly GNSA meetings in Lincoln, where they review bills that could impact public schools. And lastly, Andy has a standing weekly conference, I believe, with Brett as well, with Tim Gay, as we have a contract with him, and they continue to monitor bills. And I believe Brett has planned to have Mr. Gay come present a couple times during the legislative session to keep all of you informed on what is happening at the legislature. The third thing is Andy wanted to make sure that you were aware that he is part of Commissioner Maher's Superintendent Advisory Council, and he has a meeting with the commissioner this Thursday in Lincoln. The next thing is, as you know, the district is currently has applications out for the Director of Technology. We plan to have interviews this Wednesday. We had a strong applicant pool, included both internal and external candidates, and we hope to have a decision by the end of the week. So Dr. Rickley will communicate that to you as well. And then the last thing is on the 11th of this month, we had our Student Advisory Council. And this week, later on, we will also have the Teacher Advisory and the Classified Staff Advisory. So he wanted to make you aware of that. And that concludes his superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Siri. Moving on to item E, board reports.
I'd like to just talk a little bit about the Legislative Issues Conference as well. Ms. Witt, and I attended the Sunday night event where Commissioner Maher did speak, and it was really, Maher spoke, and it was really a great opportunity for us to listen to him and some of the priorities. He was able to sprinkle a little humor into the conversation, but I think overall his message was very well received by the audience, and it was quite a large audience. So that was very well attended. We then drove home and drove back again this morning. Ms. Wood, Ms. Witt, Mr. Madler, and myself, along with Dr. Rickley and Mr. Richards, and we attended the day-to-day. We were able to hear several state senators come and speak to us, as well as the governor himself. So we had quite a few speakers, and we were able to go through several of the bills specifically. There's so many. In fact, the number is more than they've seen since, I can't remember. Yeah, it's just huge. And so we just touched on a few today, but it was a good opportunity for us to meet, hear some of our state senators ask questions. Overall, I think it was a great event. The second thing that I would like to talk to about is this is Ms. Iman's last meeting of the Board of Education this evening, as she will be leaving us to go on to other ventures here at the end of the month. From my perspective, I've had the pleasure of knowing Ms. Iman her entire career here at Papillion La Vista, several years before I got on the board, and then all my years as a Board of Education member. We watched our kids grow up, and we had a lot of good experiences through the years, and she has been an outstanding communications director for this district. She was very well respected, not only here in the district, but in our fellow districts in the community, in the state, and nationally. So it is with some great sadness that we accept that resignation coming up here shortly, and that this is your last meeting. But I think you've done a great job leaving us in good hands with Christopher Villarreal here to stand in for you moving forward. So I'm going to just say personally, it's been an absolute pleasure. Just pleasure.
How do I top that? I can't. I want to tell a joke that the governor told. He said, a lot of people, he said, I wish the Offutt people were still here, but he talked about the people who come to the Offutt Air Force. People never ask to come to Offutt. He says, but once they get here, they don't want to get off it. And I thought that was pretty funny. So, yeah. You never get off it. I had a liaison lunch at Golden Hills, and that was the best agenda I've ever seen. It was a new principal. I had a 2-page front and back. We had 8 members of the staff there that included teachers, paraprofessionals, psychologists, counselors, lead teachers. It was a fabulous meeting. Some of the highlights were the district celebrations were progress monitoring tools and the different testing systems. They're particularly interested in reading progress monitoring tools so that goals can be teased out and so they can design interventions. They're not sure that the new one does that as much as the old one did, but they're interested in working with it to see what it can do for them. Let's see. challenges that impact students. Of course, mental health is still part of the problem that everybody's challenged with. And their staff celebrations were that this building communication works like a team atmosphere. They have constant support for one another and an amazing atmosphere for the students. The tone and mood of the building is wonderful, and the PBIS Tier 1 core consistency has helped with their behavior issues. I think that it was a really good meeting, and I always enjoy the liaison lunch, but that one was really a good one. The liaison session was very good. We did learn a lot. There's still a lot going on. We have a lot to learn about that, but that's what I did.
So I attended a liaison lunch at Carriage Hill. My first liaison lunch, so it was a great thrill for me. Principal Hively had a good variety of members from his staff, including paraprofessional specialists, as well as classroom and special education teachers. A highlight for me, I think, was when they talked about Carriage Hill and what Carriage Hill means to them, and just their whole concept of it's a family. And as a family, they take care of each other, and they support each other, and they grow together and learn. And it's a building that's very strong in our district, and it's very evident by the staff that was there. They also were very interested in asking the board and Dr. Rickley questions, and so they were interested in upcoming legislation. They were interested in our vision for the future, and so we had a great dialogue addressing some of the questions that they had, and again, left there just knowing that it's a building where great things are happening and will continue to happen. As long with the legislative issue conference that I attended today, I also attended the Metropolitan Boards of Education, or the MABE meeting, which there were 7 metropolitan area districts represented. At that, we also talked about some legislative bills that will be coming up and bills that we want to watch. And then each of the districts shared some things that were going on in those districts. And most of them involved negotiations, contracts, and the completion of some bonds and upcoming bond issues, those kind of things. But it was a good discussion, and it was a great opportunity to interact with other districts in the area.
Appreciate you all going to the legislative conference. I wish I could have gone. UNO started today, so kind of had to do my paying job. Yeah, don't really want to get fired today. I did have a liaison lunch at Hickory Hill on the 15th, which was Martin Luther King Day. So appreciate all the, all the teachers were there. It was a staff development day, but appreciate the fact that a lot of times on those staff development days, they like to go out and get something to eat when they actually have a chance. And we had a good group that stayed and had some really good food and had some really good discussion as well. Kind of like you were saying with Carriage Hill, Hickory Hill, great, very, what am I trying to say? The staff's been there a while, and they're very good together. They do well with their kids and everything, and with each other, and they're very supportive of each other. And you could see it with the ones who were there, and it was a strong group that we talked to as well. They're very excited because they're getting ready to start their improvements for the bond. I know that we're talking about those, but they're hoping that that all gets passed and they get started. Kind of warned them about it's going to be a little crazy, a little messy for a while, but I think at this point they're so excited to get it all done and see what it looks like. They really appreciated the 3D rendering that they got to see. I think their principal showed that to everyone, and their whole staff was talking about it. They're pretty excited. So great job, guys, on that one. They talked a lot about class sizes there, and wanted to make sure that one of the things that they brought up to us, and it's a very good point that we need to remember. We always talk about, well, our average is here, but obviously those that are dealing with above average, they feel the pressure, they feel the workload and everything. So we need to make sure that we keep, that they hold our feet to the fire, so that we're making sure that we're doing our best to keep those class sizes down the best we can. We're talking about one-to-one, trying to get to that, and if that was possible, I know that they're big in using technology, so they were asking us about, what's the plan if we're ever going to be able to get the elementary schools down to one-to-one using tablets and everything. So we talked about that a little bit. A couple of things. They love the toolbox. They felt like that with this latest round, with everything, that their voices are being heard. which they were very happy with. And they really enjoyed, I can't think of the term, but the shout-outs that you give, the staff shout-outs and stuff. Gratitude nominations, that's the big word, so I appreciate that. So they were really excited about that. They said they really enjoy seeing those. It's a nice little pick-me-up when somebody, whether it's a parent, whether it's a student, whether it's another staff member, sends something and they see, just a little thank you. That helps quite a bit. So I thought that was real nice to hear all that. So it was a great liaison lunch. So I enjoyed going there. So thank you.
All right, thank you for the board reports. Moving on to item F, committee reports, buildings, grounds, and finance.
We have not met since the last meeting.
Okay. Human resources and student services.
We also have not met.
Okay. Curriculum and Americanism.
We did meet. Okay. So we're, I guess, a little bit out there different. We did talk, as you mentioned earlier, about some snow day protocols and what that might mean moving forward if we continue to have any more days missed. We also had some conversation around the ELA. So we talked a little bit about the public that came in and previewed the materials, those kinds of things, and then what the cost of the purchase may look like. We talked about the BOE Policies 1000 series, which is on the agenda this evening. We also had some conversation about the IDEAL program. That's been an ongoing conversation, and it just continues to move forward. So more to come on that in the future. And then, as you also mentioned, we had some conversation about the technology director position, more about how many applications, and then the interviews are coming up. So it was a full agenda, and we managed to get there out of that meeting almost on time. Almost on time. We're working on it.
Next time.
Yeah, next time.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Okay, moving on to section 3, action items. We do have one public comment for items on the agenda. So a reminder, we have 30 minutes for public comments on the agenda, with each individual getting 3 minutes. When I call you up, please come up to the table and state your name and address or city, and we'll do it before the item that we get to. So this is for Policy 1000, which is part of action by consent. So Mr. Tate, I'll call you up again.
I promise I won't take 30 minutes. Good evening, my name is Ralph Tate, and I still live in Papillion. According to the board meeting minutes of 8 January, the Series 1000 board policies are up for annual review. Recommended changes will be discussed at the January 22nd board meeting tonight, with possible action at the February 12th meeting. It appears that the board policy review process is not in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. According to the Open Meetings Act, paragraph 84-1408, the formation of public policy is public business and may not be conducted in secret. Paragraph 84-1409, subparagraph 1, subparagraph A, subparagraph 3I, states a public body includes all independent boards, committees, councils, and subunits, or any other bodies created by the Constitution of Nebraska, statute, or otherwise pursuant to law. Certainly the PLCS board falls under that definition of public body. Subsection B of that same paragraph identifies that a public body does not include subcommittees of such bodies, and we've talked about those, unless such subcommittees are making policy or taking formal action on the part of their parent body. Subparagraph 84-1409-2 defines a meeting to be all regular, special, or called meetings, formal or informal, of any public body for the purposes of formation of tentative policy. This is where I think the noncompliance is. The board subcommittee is meeting with the responsibility given by the board to take formal action on the part of the board to formulate tentative policy. Having observed the policy review process in accordance with Policy 8003 last year, comments are submitted to the school district and then screened and adjudicated in private by a subcommittee prior to the results being presented in public to the board. The subcommittee meetings currently are not made known to the public, and hence no public participation is possible. There is no discussion of comments that were submitted but rejected, nor any rationale for their rejection. Only the final results are presented to the board as a tentative policy for review and approval. I ask the board to review your process and make the subcommittee meetings open to public participation in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tate. Moving on to item A, action by consent. Anyone have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the action by consent.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Witt and a second by Ms. Wood. Discussion? I just want to make one comment on the policy change. So that is, it's listed on here because there is no change to the policy, and our process, the subcommittee does make recommendations on policy changes, but no change to a policy can be made by a subcommittee. That comes up to the full board for review and discussion, and the full board would have to vote on any policy changes. So I just want to get that out there. And also, I just want second comment, I'll be abstaining from the action by consent just since my wife is on the personnel list. So just a heads up, I'll be abstaining on the vote, but that is why. No other discussion. Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Abstain.
Yes.
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 Okay, thank you. Moving on to item B, Parkview Heights 2023 bond, Mr. Richards.
Thank you, Mr. Madler. I want to thank the constituents of BCDM and Boyd Jones and Sampson for last board meeting, coming in and giving you the rundown of the projects at both Parkview and Hickory Hill. Very much appreciative of those people. And they're here again tonight, back for more for a couple more elementary schools. But first, the Parkview project, consisting mainly of 5 additional classrooms and additions, resizing of 9 classrooms, infrastructure improvements, and lighting and renovation of LED, lighting in the hallways, classrooms, painting, flooring, new ceiling tiles throughout most of the building, site work with playground resurfacing improvements, safety and security infrastructure is included as well. They have given us a guaranteed maximum price of $7,562,283. That's subject to any additional work that we add on or deduct through change orders, which we hope this process limits that here in the future, which I think it does, with the upfront work done by both the construction management companies and our architects. With that being said, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Richards. Any questions?
No questions. Again, just thank you for the detailed presentations. The new 3D models were phenomenal to give our constituents and those impacted those schools a really high-level view of what the impact is going to be at their buildings. So, again, much appreciated. With that being said, I'll make the motion to, 1, approve the guaranteed maximum price, GMP, of $7,562,283 for the Parkview Heights renovation and additions, and 2, to delegate authority to and authorize, approve the President of the Board of Education, Superintendent of Schools, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, or a designee for the school district to sign, execute, and deliver such construction contract, sign and approve any change orders, retain necessary professionals for assistance, pay the contract price, change order increases, and expenses related to the construction project and site preparation work, and take all other action necessary to complete any requirements or obligations under the construction project and contract.
Second.
Thank you. We got the motion by Mr. Lotus, second by Mr. Bailey. Any discussion? No. Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Thank you. Moving on to item C, Hickory Hill 2023 bond, Mr. Richards.
Thank you once again. The Hickory Hill project consists of an addition of an office suite, area, similar to what we did at Anderson Grove in the last bond. Enlargement of the cafeteria gym, reconfiguration of the old office area and kindergarten to a kindergarten classroom and a learning center classroom. Infrastructure improvements, along with light renovations, including new LED lighting, painting, flooring, new ceiling tiles throughout the rest of the building. Hickory Hills has a GMP guaranteed maximum price of $7,128,560. And again, that's subject to any additions, deductions through change orders as well. We'll say when we talk about this price, this is the construction price for the project. It doesn't include that 20% that we always keep on the side when we estimate the total of the projects, which includes testing, permits, other types of fees involved in the project. So this is just construction prices.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Richards.
I'll make a motion to, one, approve the guaranteed maximum price GMP of $7,128,560 for the Hickory Hills renovation and additions, and two, to delegate authority to and authorize, approve the President of the Board of Education, Superintendent of Schools, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, or a designee for the school district to sign, execute, and deliver such construction contracts, sign and approve any change orders, retain necessary professionals for assistance, pay the contract price, change order increases, and expenses related to the construction project and site preparation work, and take all other action necessary to complete any requirements or obligations under the construction project and contract.
Sorry, second. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Lotus and a second by Mr. Bailey. Any discussion? No? Roll call, please. Yes.
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 Okay, moving on to item D, PLHS and PLSHS softball fields. Mr. Richards.
Yes, thank you. And we are excited to get these projects off the ground here. It's been a long time of design work and a lot of visits to these schools to make sure we're getting the scope correct. So it's an exciting night to get these kicked off. So the La Vista Park City Field, number 2, and Titan Softball Field, turf and stadium projects. Bids were open last Thursday at 2 o'clock for these projects. We had 3 bids. We were very excited to get Nemaha to be the low bidder here. Nemaha is known throughout the metro area and state, for that matter, for doing turf fields, including the Memorial Stadium projects. They did one for Platteview High School when I was over there as well. So they do really good work. We're excited to have them as the low bidder at $1,649,850, which was on a little bit of the low range of our estimates on this one, which is good because the baseball was a little bit higher on the range. And you can kind of see in the BCDM talked about that in the last meeting, how prices have kind of gone down a little bit over the last month or two as far as subcontracting and bidding for construction projects, which is really good news for us moving forward. So, I would recommend that we go ahead and approve this bid from Nemaha of $1,649,850. We did add something for the first time to our design bid build projects. This is out of the CM at-risk process that we're using with Sampson and Boyd Jones. So we went hard bid on this one. Nemaha came up with it, but we're going to add a penalty. We talked to the buildings grounds. We've had some trouble with some crews not getting work done on time on a few of these design bid build projects, and we need to have a little bit of teeth to them. So BCDM thought it would be appropriate to add a $1,500 a day penalty if they don't get that done by June 30th, because it does cost us money if they don't. Then we got to go out and rent fields for them to participate on until the project gets done. So this, in essence, would pay for that and more.
I assume that penalty that was brought up before they bid, I'm assuming you have to.
We put it in the amendment,
in
yes.
The amendment, okay.
Mm-hmm. To the bid.
To the bid, okay.
Mm-hmm. So they did get notice before they put in their bid that there would be a $1,500 a day penalty.
Thank you.
Thank you for finally adding that to one of these design bid builds. We've been talking about it for a few years now, which is some of these contractors and subcontractors not delivering on the promises that they've made. And with our projects, they are very time sensitive, whether it's, getting kids back in the correct classroom or out of a portable, or in this case, we will have significant expense renting additional fields if they're not ready on time. So definitely appreciate that being added to this. If there are no other comments or questions, I'll make the motion to, one, approve the lump sum bid of $1,649,850, and two, to delegate authority to and approve the President of the Board of Education, Superintendent of Schools, Assistant Superintendent of Business Services, or a designee for the school district to sign, execute, and deliver such construction contract, sign and approve any change orders, retain necessary professionals for assistance, pay the contract price, change order increases and expenses related to the construction project and site preparation work, and take all other action necessary to complete any requirements or obligations under the construction project and contract.
Second. Okay. Looks like it's the Lotus Bailey show for the action items today. So we have the motion by Mr. Lotus, second by Mr. Bailey. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, that wraps up section 3. Moving on to section 4, discussion information items. Item A, Trumbull Park and Terra Heights Schools construction projects. Mr. Richards.
Okay, I'll ask our representatives from BCDM and Boyd Jones to come up first for Trumbull Park. And I'll let them kind of take over on the site plan and floor plan talks, and then I'll kind of jump in once in a while when we get into the GMP and that type of thing.
Yep. Yeah, thank you, Brett. Excited to be here again tonight to walk you through both Trumbull Park and Terra Heights site plans, floor plans, and we've got those videos for both of these as well. So looking at Trumbull Park here, from a site plan standpoint, Valley Road adjacent to the school there is now a through street that there you can see the construction and the kind of dirt path there of the construction progress. So one of the things we did was add some ADA parking stalls and a little bit more area for deliveries off of that kitchen to kind of separate the student area from that through road now as well. Another big piece of this is the playground up the hill there. You'll see kind of a winding sidewalk that's an ADA path to get up from the school up to that playground area. So the existing stairs remain there, but there's also the addition of that sidewalk and ramp to make sure that everybody has access to that playground there. The blue that you're seeing at the kind of top left-hand corner, again, is representative of the classroom addition kind of off of the gymnasium there. So if we go to the floor plan. So again, the scope of both Trumbull Park and Terra Heights are very similar to Parkview as well, where they're kind of a similar vintage. The green that you're seeing on the floor plan there is an area of heavy renovation, where those classrooms are about 600 square feet now. The aim is to get those all to about that 800 square foot district standard. So that 4 classroom addition in blue really represents a net gain of 0 classrooms. We're just making all of those classrooms larger, so that there's really no addition there of classroom quantity. It's all making those larger spaces. You'll see the classroom adjacent to the blue addition, we are getting a corridor in there to gain access as well. What you're seeing in yellow then is really the scope of LED lighting and rewiring from a technology standpoint, ceilings, flooring, painting, everything, that lighter renovation touch. And then the gray in the corner, the bottom left-hand corner, is the kitchen area that was part of the 2012 bond. So a little bit lighter touch there yet. As part of all of this, Brett mentioned the security aspects of this are all involved, or all included in the pricing here as well. So that includes upgraded, access control and window films, et cetera, like we're doing across the board.
We'll take a little tour here.
Yeah. So again, coming in the front entrance from the Valley Road there, as we come in to the left, that we have that vestibule, but upgrading the access control and creating a new kind of reception desk there and upgrading finishes throughout. So then as we're looking through one of the existing corridors here, again, upgrading those finishes, going into the media center, and getting some, specialty lighting, trying to get the ceiling up a little bit and increase the volume in that space as much as we can. And again, a new circulation desk there. So we're kind of in the corridor of the new addition, walking into the existing gymnasium here now. So that would be new athletic flooring, a new operable partition, and then kind of that revitalized painting in there as well. So what we're seeing here is the corridor of the classroom addition. So that higher volume, getting natural light in there. Again, that's the same across the board with Parkview, Trumbull, and Terra. And then we're entering into one of the typical classrooms here. We're seeing a new one in the addition, but this is representative of all of them in the addition, as well as that kind of green, heavy renovation area. And then one thing that's a little unique here at Trumbull Park, with that hill going up to the playground area, the addition is kind of built in a retaining wall condition, right? So there's about 5 feet into the hill there, but we did raise the level of that wall to make it high enough so you don't have kids trying to get up there. But again, this is the exit out to the playground area here that we're seeing now.
Talking about the money portion of this, Boyd Jones has gone out, and the way this works, and I know most of you know this already, but for the public's concerns here, the way the CMR at-risk process works is Boyd Jones goes out for the bids, okay? And right now, the market is really good, and we're getting a lot of bids in from subcontractors under each area of construction. So, it's similar to a construction company coming in the hard bid process where they've already gone out and got all their bids, and they're giving you a bid to see if they can get the job, whereas they work together with us on the subs. We get high-quality subs that are bidding on these projects, and I think we had 130 bids in one of the projects. I'm not sure it was Boyd Jones, but I know Sampson. Both of them had a lot of interest in these projects to do for our school district and for their company. So that's one of the advantages that we talked about earlier before we came into this process, that it's paying off already. So this guaranteed maximum price you see includes all those bids coming together as one price, which is $8,058,307 for Trumbull Park. This is within that budget range for construction. All of them so far have come in a little bit lower, on the lower end of the budget range, which is good news for us. And then we're going to start this project this spring. It'll be later spring probably on Trumbull versus early. We'll get some logistics done in early spring and then really jump in, once school gets out, when they can get 2 summers solid to get going on this project and timeline. And I'm sure Mark Pfister, who's with Boyd Jones, is here and one of the better project managers around. So I got to work with him before, so happy to work with him again. Any questions you have on this project?
We had an email concern from a constituent about the parking around Trumbull and the drive-through, and maybe I see that you're extending that valley will be an extended street to help with the traffic flow. And have you worked with the city on any of that to make sure that the 2 areas, the Tower District and Trumbull Park, have a good flow there?
Yeah, that's something that, when you have the city is in charge of roads, and I know that one time there was supposed to be a cut through from the Water Tower District My understanding is that's been taken out with concerned citizens. I know we've made some suggestions to the city on maybe Valley Road being a one-way at certain times of the day to help with that traffic flow. We'll have another meeting and talk to the city about that. Ultimately, the roads are theirs, and we do get stuck sometimes in these older schools with very small plats for our schools. And you see Trumbull, there's not a lot of places to add parking to the building, which is unfortunate. You know, it's kind of hilly in the back. I know parking was addressed in the last bond at Trumbull. But we can work through some ideas with some concerned citizens over there. I know they've tried to meet with the city on this, and I haven't heard back if they got that done. But we're willing to sit at the table with those groups and have some discussions and take some of their ideas and see if we can put them to use.
Anything else for Trumbull? Any other questions? No? Okay. Tara?
That was great. I didn't even have to. Tara Heights.
Thanks.
We'll switch out Boyd Jones for Sampson Construction.
All right, we saved all of our questions for Sampson.
So on Terra Heights here, starting with the site plan as well, you can see the blue is representative of a building addition again. We are looking at doing a significant amount of work to the site layout. You'll see that we're actually flipping the locations of the parking lot and the playground from current day layout. And that right now the students have to cross the parking lot to get to the playground. And by flipping those two, we're now separating traffic flow from that playground. They can get directly to that. This layout also, I think it may add 1 or 2 parking stalls, but it extends the amount of drive lane there and creates a better drop-off within the site itself. I would still maintain drop-off there along Terra Road, but trying to alleviate some of that traffic congestion as well. You'll see some of that lighter gray color adjacent to the building is a little bit wider sidewalk as well, so that along that drop-off lane, trying to create plenty of room for those kids to be able to get out and safely get to the school away from the traffic. There's also, from a safety standpoint, fencing around the entire site. I neglected to mention that is also at Trumbull Park. And so then you're seeing the yellow and kind of that adjacent space up there are the playground. So as we look to the floor plan then, again, the blue is the addition. The addition here is really a couple kindergarten classrooms and a preschool. So square footage wise, it's about equivalent to the 5 classrooms that you saw at Trumbull Park. But we were able to put those younger kids in the addition with some of the plumbing that goes along with the restrooms that are in there, in those rooms. That is a little bit easier work. And then the green is, again, the reconfiguration of those 600 square foot to 800 square foot classrooms. With both of these projects, again, we're getting mother's rooms and things like that are at the district level standards. The yellow is, again, LED lighting and ceilings and technology infrastructure that, again, lends to helping us on the security end with access control. The same films and everything would be used at this location. And then the gray is the kitchen that was done in the 2012 bond, so a little less work needed there. So another video. Okay, here we go. So again, trying to put a little bit more emphasis on the entry to Terra Heights as well with that entry, that drop-off lane. I know it's kind of tucked away back there right now. That mechanical equipment that's on the ground in front of the entrance will be gone as part of this. So really trying to create a lot more visual entrance and a softer, safer entrance. So as we get into the reception area, a brand new reception desk through there as well. One of the things at Terra, their school colors are orange, but when you walk through there, it's a lot of blues and greens now. So trying to get everything updated to that, kind of feel that sense of pride and get the school color injected as we move through the spaces. So again, the media center, getting a little bit of specialty lighting in there again, and a new circulation desk, as well as new flooring, paint, etc. So as we go into the gymnasium, multi-purpose room, you'll see in the wall pads and the painting in there, again, getting that orange color for the school colors back into that space. And it's shown open now, but again, another new operable partition between that multi-purpose space and the platform there. So then this would be the corridor in the new addition, kind of showing the same finishes as throughout the school. Again, that higher volume with getting some natural light into there. And then we'll go into a typical classroom here, which again is indicative of this is actually one of the lower grades. This is either the preschool or kindergarten, I can't remember. But again, showing the cubbies in there, having the different flooring in the furniture area, and then a hard surface by the sinks. And then as we go around the exterior of the building, again, matching the kind of existing brick from the kitchen addition in 2012, and showing that's kind of the entrance to where preschool would be.
And you can see a few 6'5" sixth graders in there playing basketball. We'll have on our future basketball high school teams.
I think we intended those to be faculty and teachers and coaches.
You mentioned cubbies. Is there a set number of cubbies that you always put in a classroom, or is it based on the amount of room you have, or how do you determine that?
Yeah, I think we try to maintain a certain amount throughout. If it's a kindergarten and preschool, it would be a little bit different for classroom size versus, first, second, third grade. There's kind of the standards that we try to meet at each school. So we try to size the rooms to meet that same number throughout.
So roughly what would be the amount of cubbies you put in a third grade classroom?
Yeah, I think we try to go for a class sizes of mid-20s, right? So we try to plan for that. Yeah.
And these would be similar to what we'd put in a brand new elementary school.
Yes.
Into these new, or the older classrooms now too. So we have that standard. That's one good thing about working with BCDM all these years. They know that district standard that we're putting in those newer elementaries as well.
I think the cubbies are nice because they're in the classroom, safety, security, those kind of things. So rather than lockers in the hallway.
Talking about price for Terra Heights, we have a guaranteed maximum price from Sampson Construction of $7,800,451, again within that budget range. We're scheduled to begin this in spring and be completed by August of 2025. So all four of these projects, even though we're kind of coming to you every other week and kind of making sure at each meeting we talk about each one, they'll both be done. All four of them will be done in August of 2025. Any questions for our crew here?
I just want to thank you both for coming, and as someone who has to do the Terra Heights drop-off every morning with my two sons, I am looking forward to the new updated parking lot with, and I think all my fellow parents that have to do that drop-off will also be looking forward to it, and the community members around there. So yeah, it is needed, and yeah, excited to see these older schools get these updates. So thanks for coming. Great. Any other questions, comments? No? All right.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming. Thanks. Okay, moving on to item B, Student Demographics Report and Human Resources. Dr. Settles.
And I'll take this from you. I'll take that too. Thanks. All right. Thanks, everyone. Yes, this is the time of the year that we like to kind of show you what we've been studying as far as the HR and Student Demographics Report that helps to inform not only what's happening throughout this year, but also in the planning stages for next school year.
I'd like to just point out the information that you get from this is as of the October 1st state reporting day. So some of these numbers obviously are in flux throughout the school year, but every single year when we're comparing our data, we are comparing from October 1st to October 1st so that we've got solid numbers as far as that goes. So first up, just kind of taking a look at our growth over the last number of years. We currently, you can see up there, have 12,039 students enrolled, and this is preschool through 12th grades. And this, of course, is as of the October 1st date. This is an increase of only 8 students from this past year, and that growth would be a 0.067%. The biggest increases that we saw this year were at Ashbury, Prairie Queen, and Liberty, which I know is exactly what we would expect to see. And you can just kind of see that historic enrollment listed here from throughout since 1990. Again, we look at the preschool numbers all the way on up. Just to kind of summarize by level of what you're looking at here, you can see that official is in yellow there from October 1st of this year, gray from 2022, and then white from 2021. And then you can see again in white there just the difference at each of those levels from last year to this year. We did think it was important just to keep that trend for you to be able to see over the last couple of years, as we are still continuing to rebound from the loss of some of our students not attending here during COVID times. But again, we are pretty pleased with what we've seen at our rebound and students coming back. You can see that we were up 8, but do note that fall tends to be our lowest numbers for our preschool enrollment, as we tend to grow throughout the year with the child find services that do exist, identifying ages birth through 5 as students are coming to us. What we're seeing here also is very consistent with what RSP told us that we would be seeing. So I know that, we hope to continue seeing growth, and we are, keeping a close eye on that study as well as we look at this piece. We always like to take a look at option enrollment, because if the students are not here in our district, we do want to know where it is that they are at. With our option in and option out, you'll be able to see here we do have more students opting in than opting out, which of course is what we want to see. We did think we might see this change slightly as we did some of the option enrollment opening up more at the high school level than what we had done in the past. But we did not see that so much in our first year, not the huge bump that we saw. We did see some growth from that piece, but not a big growth yet at this point. We do feel like it'll be interesting to see what happens next, as we know there's been a lot of word that has gotten out there that we're allowing some option in, and we intended to take that, be very careful about that, as we want to make sure that we're paying a lot of attention to what the needs and requests are of the students that are already here and their families, as well as making sure that we're being able to utilize the space that we have available in our schools. So I did want to mention just our schools that we have designated as closed for 24-25. Note, just because a school is not on here doesn't mean that they haven't reached capacity in certain grade levels. That is something that we measure constantly, as we do have capacity set at each of those grade levels. Staffing is one of those items that is considered in helping to determine whether classrooms are determined full or not. Something that we also do annually is just review our numbers and growth trends and make recommendations, for then the following year as far as what we would recommend as closed schools. So these are our 2 for this year. Ashbury, just a note, did grow over 67 students again this year, and we continue to see Prairie Queen as our largest elementary and continue to see increased enrollment there as well. That helped to make that decision. We know that student learning needs may be increased as we continue to grow, and so we really do work hard to maintain those manageable class sizes. I know I hear it mentioned from you often that that's something that you hear from staff when you're out and about. I do think, to that note, and Mr. Bailey made this comment earlier, but it is important to note that what we have here in front of you is an average. And, that's something as well that we monitor all year long on a weekly basis. During the summer months, it's a daily basis that we're monitoring that. But we already have entered in and are taking a look at class sizes and making recommendations for next year, which is one of the big reasons we report this to you at this time. At the elementary level, just to kind of give you an example, we have 302 total sections at the elementary level, and currently of those, 18 sections throughout the district have 25 or more students. All of those are in grades 4th through 6th. So we wanted you just to have that as a piece of awareness. I really do want to thank the board for always keeping this at the forefront. Your support as we come to you with various needs, and we really work hard to be very diligent and careful about the growth positions that you allot to us each year. As we staff, we want to staff both appropriately in general and special education. And so this year, you had given us some growth positions to be able to utilize. We come to you if we need to dip into those growth at all. The only one that we ended up utilizing this year was in the skilled and technical sciences classes, where we added a half person for each, making, rather than having a split person that go half day to Monarchs, half day to Titans, we were able to make those each full positions when we had the enrollment spike up there with the students wanting to take classes in that area. This year for these average class sizes, we did go down at all 3 levels, and of course we do appreciate being able to see that. It's also important that we regularly take a look at our ethnicity demographics, and this is a self-reported area. We did, again this year, see our number of non-white students increasing by about a full percentage from last year. And so you can see that we're at a total of 27.82% of this area. Hispanic is our largest population, followed by those identifying as 2 or more races. We also saw an increase again this year in a fairly significant increase as well in our free and reduced. So if you remember last year, we saw a pretty large increase in the free and reduced as the free lunches and breakfast went away. We are now a part of the community eligibility provision for all of our 5 title buildings. So those, they are getting free lunch and breakfast as a part of those, and that continues this year as well as the next 3 years. We're really proud to be a part of that program. This is also a number that, if you were to review the numbers today, that's already gone up, as that is a number that continues to add throughout the year. The application for free and reduced lunch remains open, so families can apply at any time. It's important to remember that it does not only have to do with lunch, but activities and different fees as well. So with our district average being at 27.85%, that is a number that is up from last year. Every year, I know you're probably having to squint a little bit at this one, but we do like to take a look across the board at all of our schools as far as our military percentage. This is actually one we saw decrease this year. However, if numbers were taken in January, it's also one that we continue to see an increase on throughout the year. And there likely would have been a bump because we did actually welcome several military families over the winter break. So There was some movement in military throughout. That doesn't also mean that we also probably had some students get transferred to other bases. You'll see Anderson Grove on here has our highest military population at the elementary level and throughout the district with 18%. Papillion Middle School has 11%, and South is at the highest at the high school level with 8%. We are working with authorities to get that federal form available electronically for the convenience of our families in the future. We know that likely one of the reasons we did not see this maintain where we had been at likely is because we have some forms that just were never returned. So we want to make that as user-friendly as possible, so that'll be a piece that we'll be looking for in the fall to make it easier for our families. We also wanted just to take a look at our homeschool, just a historic look. Where have we been with this piece, and have students come back? So you can kind of look on there to see what our number of students that are homeschooled were back 5 years ago, and then where we're at today. So we currently have 465 students that are homeschooled, and this again is as of our October 1st, 4.29% fall into that category. So that is something that I think was really important that we take a look at post-COVID as families were able to become more comfortable with having their students in school when numbers did start getting much better after COVID. Shifting to the staff piece of this, this figure just shows for you the percent of staff working in our school district by category. So this year we have 1,719 employees filling the roles that you see divided out. If these were working all full-time at 8 hours per day or more, then that would be 1,555 at full-time equivalent, or FTE. More than 3/4 of our staff, we're very proud that are at that's 76% of them actually, are working directly in classrooms with students. And I think most importantly, as you look at this, I just really want to stress that everyone from paras to food service to the van drivers and riders to custodians to the educational staff that our students work with every single day do really make a meaningful impact. And it really does take all of these people to make this work and to give our students the very best experience that they can. We continue to have some hiring shortages in several of the areas that you see here. And, you know, we do continue to seek out people. We were really excited on our last walk-in Wednesday, last Wednesday. I think we had 7 people come in throughout the afternoon, complete applications and do interviews on the spot, which we love to see. And that's a great day for us when we get to see that happen. We have one great piece of news is we have been able to fill quite a few more of these openings this year than at this time last year. So we need to continue working on that, and that's something our department works very hard on in cooperation with other areas throughout the district and the schools. We like to annually take a look at the teaching positions and evaluate where are we at compared to other schools in Nebraska. So you can see on this one, the school district is listed top in gray and the state in yellow. Our teaching staff does have an average of 14 years of experience, which is fantastic. That increased a bit this year. We love to see that. And we do average that over 10 of those years have been with PLCS, which is also really good for our students as we make progress. Another stat that I'm proud of is the percentage of our teachers that hold master's degrees. Over 71% of our district teachers do hold master's degrees, almost 72%, compared to the statewide report, which this past year or this year is at 58%. For us, this is 669 of our teachers, and many of them hold multiple masters as well. We also have quite a few holding specialists, 19 of them in fact, and then 8 doctorates held by our teaching staff. I'll share just a little bit more of that later, but I did want to point out that in 22-23 and 21-22, we did not have state data, so that has been added here since that has become available in this last year. But you can see we're maintaining at a great spot. Already celebrated the master's degree portions and the specialists and doctorates, but I also wanted to add that 44 of our staff hold national certifications. And those are in a variety of areas. That would include some that are now in administration, some that are counselors, school psychologists, speech pathologists, assistive technology specialists, so a variety of areas that hold, and teaching positions, of course, too, that hold national certification. We're very proud of that. So here you'll take a look at our average teacher salary. Our starting salary this year is $39,400, and we are in the first year of a 2-year contract with the teachers of PLCS. You can see that the average teacher salary is $63,480, and that reflects that obviously that in turn shows those high number of master's degree staff that we do have, and many that have well beyond a master's degree too. So we figure out, when you figure a complete, what is like the total package starting average for a new teacher here, we figure that out as when you figure salary plus benefits, as about $68,166 this year, which would be based on family insurance. So that would be the most that when you look at an average starting salary plus the benefits, we went with the higher benefits package as we give you that information for a first-year teacher with a bachelor's degree. With the national shortages in the area of education, we really like to keep a very close eye on the number of certified staff that are nearing retirement. So you can see on this, we've got a fair number here that are ages 50 or up. Of our group that is nearest retirement, administrators are the highest percentage, and then the next highest would be our custodial group. As far as teachers go, we did have 64 eligible this year for our voluntary early separation, and 9 did put in for that. We'll talk about that in my next report. But you can see here that we also have a very large group of teachers that is in their first 5 years. So we've tried to do some special things as we really make sure that our mentors take great care and are connecting with our new teachers. Our mentors and principals, our instructional coaches, those are all people that are really so important to our teachers in their very early years of teaching. They're valuable to all staff, but we really, really count on them and appreciate the hard work that they do with teachers, making sure that they're able to get what they need to be able to learn the job and be there for students. So I think that's really important. I'm really proud that I think this is a school district that is known to be a grower and supporter of teachers. And I think here you also need to have some recognition and thanks for the recognition and retention stipends, which the third of 3 was just in the December paycheck. And I know I've heard time and time again how much that was appreciated and how staff really felt that. It's also very important that we're regularly taking a look at our staff ethnicity demographics. This too is a self-reported area. This is our certified staff that you're looking at on this part. Again, we did, this is something we like to take a close look at, and you'll see we're continuously working to be able to recruit staff that do help with the demographics to be able to help match our student demographics better. That's an issue overall in the field of education and something that we regularly pay attention to as we are working toward programming and such as well. So that's kind of a high overview of a lot of the demographics and staffing for this year. What we have been doing now over the past week and a half is we've met with all 21 schools and looked at what they predict for staff needs and what's going on for staff for them for this year. Who are they hearing from that may be looking elsewhere or looking for leadership or moving and things like that. So we're getting a good idea of those pieces, and then considering the needs that we would have for next year. So we've already taken our this year's students, moved them over to where they would be rolling up to for next year, and moving our seniors on as we do our planning, and so that we're really looking at numbers at all times from this point forward for next year as close as possible for what we predict. For kindergarten, we always plan that one to be the same as what their current kindergarten was, and for the most part, we see those maintained throughout, but we keep a close eye on those because you never know when there might be a year that we have a bumper or that we have some decrease of kindergarten, so it's something we follow throughout the whole entire year. But at the next Board of Education meeting, we'll be coming to you and talking about any staffing requests that we might have. I think it's important that you know we're trying to be extremely diligent about this, as we know that we're not in a spot at this point that we're growing by leaps and bounds. We're needing to manage the growth that we already have, and as some of that is shifting throughout the district, where we see some growth due to construction and things in certain areas, we may see another area go down a bit. So we've already met with principals and shared with them where we predict that their staff sections will be, their student sections will be for next year. So we'll bring that to the next meeting to share and make requests of you. Do you have any questions for me about this part?
Questions?
I don't have any questions, but thank you for the vast amount of information that you've provided tonight. It kind of brings into line of sight what we know and we're hearing constantly in bits and pieces, but to see it all together kind of puts the picture holistically for us. So thank you for the information. I know I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Settles. Moving on to voluntary separation update. Dr. Settles.
This one is me as well, and with this one, we took some time in December, and as we do every December, take a look at the applications that came in and approved 9 staff for the early retirement incentive, which it's temporary early retirement incentive plan, I believe is the entire TARP through the state law, but we just wanted to give you a little bit more information as some of you have asked some great questions and wanted just to share that with the group. So with our certified staff, in order to be eligible for that, it is a minimum of 15 years here in the school district, so it is a retention piece that is nice. And then you have to be between the ages of 55 and 65 by August 31st of the next school year. And that's the same way that the state retirement plan works as far as they go by that August 31st date. So that's why we do that piece. You see that there is a cutoff that it is by the age of 65. And partially this is meant that this plan is in place that it can be a savings for school districts. I will just share a little bit more about that kind of as we go through this. It is not eligible for administrators, and there is a deadline of December 1st. So in the fall, by October 1st, I send out to the staff, here is this year's application as well as all of the information for it, and then the back page of that always includes how many people are eligible. And they can kind of see, you know, their year where how many might be eligible their year as well. So just to take a quick historic look at this, and I think this is where some of the questions had came. We had 9 that we accepted this year. There were 64 overall that were eligible. And you can see that's fairly consistent throughout. We keep getting more people eligible because we are not using those spots. So a few years ago, like back in 1920, you can see on there, we had 16 that applied and were accepted. We typically set that number here in the fall with the board with a recommendation by our subcommittee of 15. If we have more than 15, that is the point then that we would come to the board and say, here is the salaries, here's all the different data points for you to look at and determine if we want to accept any others for that. So we just wanted you just to have an idea for that. I think it's honestly a celebration that all of these staff with this much experience are still here in our schools, and it's very good for the profession. It is great for our staff then who do wish to remain on with us following retirement and do some subbing or things like that. So there is some limitations on how much subbing can happen, but we're grateful to have this experienced staff for as long as they are willing to stay on. So I mentioned already we had all 9 of the applications for this year were accepted. Their average age was 59.2, and that was pretty consistent from the last few years as I took a look at that. On average, you can see the number of years here in the district was almost 24 years. That's a pretty great celebration right there. We're not getting those requests from people who have been here right at the 15 years. They're people who have been around and they know and appreciate that this is an option. 215 years of experience, so a real celebration for about those 9 people too. That's pretty remarkable. In general, I just wanted to share some of the thoughts that I hear from staff as I am meeting with them, discussing these different pieces. They really do feel good about staying here and retiring from this school district. Most come back and return as subs. So in their first 180 days, they can only work 8 days a month, and that was a state law that changed in the last few years. We really love that changed to allow anything. So the 8 days a month very much helps us. It also is one of those things that helps with insurance costs. Insurance costs, as we all know, are very high, and cost in retirement is extremely high for insurance costs. So being able to stay on and do some subbing is very helpful. Some people, that's how they determine how many days a month they will sub, is just trying to see what would cover for insurance. I also hear a lot of gratitude from the staff that I meet with, and like this past year, I think I had 22 meetings with staff that were considering retirement, just that they're very grateful that this is a program that does continue to be supported each year by the Board of Education. So that's all I had for you on that one, but were there any questions or follow-up on that piece?
No, thank you, Dr. Settles, for going over that and going over the demographics report as well. I think all very helpful information, for the board members. So thank you. All right, moving on to section 5, future board calendar. January 26, 2024, we have a liaison lunch at Patriot with Ms. Fisher at 11:30. January 30th, 2024, liaison lunch at Ashbury with Mr. Bailey at 11:30. February 1st, 2024, liaison lunch at Portal with Mr. Lotus at 11:30. February 9th, 2024, there's no school for the elementary, as it is an elementary staff development day. February 9th, 2024, liaison lunch at Liberty Middle School with Ms. Wood at 11:30. And then our next board meeting at February 12th, 2024, Board of Education meeting at 6 p.m. here at Central Office. Seeing no further business in front of the board, I will adjourn the meeting at 7:38. Thanks.